Mr. Chairman, good morning to all of our witnesses. Ms. Barr, you previously testified that the former secretary's email arrangement with herself was not acceptable. Those are the words you used, not acceptable. What made it not acceptable to you?
I thought that I know that in my oral statement today I was talking about it. Our backlogs were not acceptable, but I think that in my former testimony that was being asked if I thought in general it was okay to use, if any employee would use a private email account.
Right. No, you're exactly right. It was in response to a question when you testified before the Senate. And I'm sure the circumstances were, was it okay to exclusively use personal email with which to conduct public business? And you used the phrase not acceptable. So I'm not asking about the backlog. I'm asking about the exclusive use of personal email with which to conduct public business. What makes it not acceptable?
What we want to make sure that we do under the Federal Records Act is to capture official records so that they are available to be history of what we do and how we come to those decisions. We don't like for records to be separated from the agency. So we were very pleased to have these records back in our possession so that they're part of our collection and that we can make them available to the public.
Do you recall why former Secretary Clinton said she availed herself of a personal server and used exclusively personal email? Do you recall the explanation given? Or have you been given an explanation for why she went that route?
I can't speak to that authoritatively. My understanding is that the Secretary said that she did it as a matter of convenience.
And you know what?
I don't know that personally. So.
Well, that's my understanding too, in part because that's what she said. I guess my next question would be, if it was solely for convenience, why not return the records the day you separated from the State Department?
I have no information on that, sir.
Has she provided any explanation for why she retained care, custody, and control of those public records for almost 2 years after she separated?
I'm not aware of that, sir.
Do you know what
prompted
Do you know what prompted the former secretary to return those public records to the public domain?
We sent a letter to Secretary Clinton as well as to Secretaries Rice, Powell, and Albright, and asked them if they had any records that they might have been generated on non-department systems that should be part of our official records.
How were you able to comply with FOIA requests in that almost 2-year interim between the time you wrote the letter and the time that she retained care, custody, and control of all of those public records?
Sir, emails are not the only records.
Right, but it's part of the record. So if you received a FOIA request that would have included emails, how would you have been able to comply with that FOIA request, given the fact that you had neither care, custody, nor control of those records?
Well, we would still search all of our records, and we would still look at things like cables, decision memos, other types of documents that we keep to provide a record of what we do, agendas.
So you would have given what you had, but you would have made no representation that what you provided was complete, because necessarily it could not have been complete because you didn't have the full panoply of public records.
Well, we always look at what we have, sir.
Right. You can't give it if you don't have it, which then raises the next question I have. I was listening to my friend from Maryland and my friend from Virginia make note of the fact that the former secretary did return emails. What guarantee can you give my fellow citizens that what you have now is the complete public record? Have you been through all of her records to determine what's public and what's private?
We are processing them now, and I know we have not completed our review.
You're processing what was originally on the server, or are you processing what she provided to you?
We are processing what she provided to us.
Do you know what mechanism she would have gone through to determine herself what was public record and what was private, or what may have been a mixed use? Do you know who made that initial determination for the former secretary?
She has told us that she erred on the side of inclusion.
Did she tell you that she personally reviewed all of the emails, or did she retain counsel to do so?
I'm not aware of whether she personally did it or if she retained counsel.
Well, I thank you for answering my questions. I am over time. Suffice it to say, I have a number of additional questions in this area, and perhaps at some point I'll be able to ask them to you.
Gentlemen,
But
you
thank
just
you.
for a moment.